Alright, Chef Andrew here to help you guys make pizza. We're going to start with a pizza dough. Here's your mise en place that you're going to need real quick. You're going to need about three-quarter cup of warm water between 105 to 115 degrees, which I was just measuring out, so we're good. You'll need 2 cups of flour, and then you're going to need 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. To begin, what we're going to do is we're going to bloom the yeast. So we're going to take our hot water, and I'm not going to want to waste a lot of time messing with dishes, so we're just going to use the mixing bowl that we have on the mixer here. So I'm going to pour my warm water into the bowl here, along with the sugar and the yeast. Okay. Now what the yeast does is it eats the sugar. Give that a good mix. And begins producing carbon dioxide, which is the bubbles that will form. We're going to let this sit for roughly about 2 minutes, and then we're going to come back and then we're going to add the salt, which will help control the carbon dioxide being produced, and then start building the dough. Alright, it has been about 4 minutes actually, and our yeast is blooming pretty nice. So we're going to go ahead and add in our salt. And again, the salt will just help control the yeast so it doesn't produce too much carbon dioxide. And then we're going to add in our flour. Easier if I have this over here. Now you can do this by hand. It'll take a little bit of work, but I like using my trusty little KitchenMaid here. You're going to use your dough hook, by the way, so it's a swirly attachment, not a paddle and not a balloon whip. And we're going to mix this for about 1 minute on medium for all the ingredients to incorporate, and then we'll check it and make sure that the dough is incorporating properly before we add the oil. And I'll be back with that. Alright, dough was incorporating pretty well, but before the dough finishes incorporating fully, I do want to add the olive oil. This will create a nice smooth texture on the dough and give it a nice crispy layer when we're baking it. I'll finish mixing this, and we're going to be maybe about 2 minutes of kneading in the machine for it to fully come together, and we got a nice gluten structure built up. And then I'll be back. Alright, it's been about 2 minutes. The dough is nice. It's not sticky very much. It took all of the flour and ingredients off the bowl. So we're going to go ahead and take this out. You shouldn't need any flour to, see, it's not sticking to my hand. It should be a nice, smooth, slightly tacky dough. You take it and you're going to form it into a ball. And by doing that, you're going to do what I'm doing here. You're going to take the edges and you're just kind of push away from you. Okay, where the top looks like this, a nice smooth top. The bottom has all the creases. And then you're just going to gather this up. And now we have a ball. Now you're going to take the ball and you're going to put it into a bowl, a little bit of oil, and you're just going to coat the ball lightly with the oil. Alright. You'll cover it, you'll let it sit for about an hour, and then you can use it for your pizzas. This dough is also nice that if it runs at this point, you wrap it, you can actually put it in the fridge overnight and use it the next day. Just take it out an hour before you have to make pizza, and it'll be relaxed enough for you to make a pizza. Alright, so while our pizza dough is resting and rising, getting ready for us to use it, we're actually going to make our own pizza sauce. So for this, you're going to need 8 ounces of crushed tomatoes. No water is needed. Okay. If you want a thicker sauce, you can add about a tablespoon or 2 of tomato paste, but I feel just the crushed tomatoes is fine. Then you're going to add in 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of basil, about 1 tablespoon of dried parsley, and a teaspoon of salt. If you want a little bit spicier, you can add some red pepper flakes in there. Now from here, all we're going to do is we're going to stir it, mix it, give it a nice good mix, and we're going to heat it to simmering, and I'm going to let it cook for about roughly about an hour or so, and it'll thicken nicely up at that point. From there, I'm going to take a tablespoon of fresh grated Parmesan and I'll add that to it, but after it's cooked and slightly cooled. I don't want to add that while it's cooking, otherwise we'll get a nice cheesy gummy mess going on. Alright, so again, we're just going to give this a nice stir to completely incorporate all the seasonings. And the longer that it simmers on the stove, the more time the seasonings have to develop and meld into a perfect flavor. Alright, I'm not going to show you the cooking process, but again, I'm just going to simmer it for about 2 hours until I get a nice thick pasty sauce. Alright, come back when the pizza dough is ready. Alright, I've allowed enough time for my dough to rise. I've assembled some ingredients. I got some cheese, some pepperoni, some sliced black olives. My oven's preheated to 550 degrees. I have a pan ready. So all we need to do is take our ball of dough and flatten it out into our pizza shape. You'll need a little flour for your tabletop here. You're going to start in the center and you're going to press out. And you're going to try to keep your dough into a nice circle. Now I've divided my dough into 2 parts. So instead of making one giant 16-inch pizza, I'm going to make about 2 8-inch, 7-inch or 8-inch pizzas. I'm going to start by pressing this out. Make sure I have a nice circle going. And then make sure your thumb and forefinger is a little dusted with some flour, because you're going to flip your dough onto it. And you're going to stretch using your thumb and your finger knuckles. And you can see me here. See the little divots coming up? That's my thumbs stretching it from the fingers. So here are my fingers, and here are my thumbs. Okay, so I'm using my fingers and thumbs to stretch it out. Then as you get more in tune with this, you can start going faster. And you get your dough thinner and thinner and thinner the way you want it. So I'm thinking I have about 8 inches right here now. So I'm going to go ahead and probably stop, make sure I have a nice circle still. I'm looking good. Okay. So next I'm going to bring out my pan that I'm going to be using baking on. Now I'm actually going to bake, I'm not going to bake on this, it's a square cookie sheet. I'm actually going to bake on the top here. It'll allow for a crispier dough to be made because of the way the heat gets trapped here. So, since I'm making two, I have enough room for two pizzas here. Okay, so that's the first one. Got my second one here ready to go. Again, same thing, we're going to press in the middle, just gently going out, keeping our dough into a nice circle. Okay, and then, you know, make sure we're all good here. Flip it over. Use your finger and your thumbs to pull the dough out. You can even use your hands to do this. But just be aware that the thinner the middle is, the easier it is to rip. So you really want to work around the edges where it's thicker, where the dough is piled up a bit. Okay. If you do happen to get a tear, it's pretty easy. I'll show you here in a second. I haven't torn this one, but I'll put an accidental tear in it. I think I'm good here. Alright, so let's say you get a tear. Alright. Let's put it right here. Oh no, I tore my dough. Don't re-wad this back into a ball and try rolling it out again. Yeast dough does not work that way. What you need to do is just take a little bit and just pull it over on itself and tap the dough back down. Okay? And then rework your shape. Okay? See? All good. You know? No big things. Okay? If you can see through the pizza, that just means your dough is really thin. That area will be a thinner piece of dough when you get it all cooked. Alright? Let's put that over here. Alright, so now you've got your pizza dough ready to go, ready to be baked. Shape my dough here. Now you don't really need anything under this to help it with a non-stick type thing. If you wanted to, you could throw some cornmeal down. Little flour wouldn't hurt it. Okay, but now I have two pizzas here ready to go. I have my sauce that we made earlier. I went and cooked it for almost 2 hours. It's nice thick sauce. I've added the cheese in there. I've tested it, make sure the flavors are all there. So we're gonna need about, I'm gonna say about an ounce of sauce. This is an 1.5 ounce ladle. We're gonna put it right in the center. All right, and tap it down. And then from here, we're just going to swirl in a circle out. Okay. If you want a little more sauce, put a little more sauce, but I think 1 ounce is good for these. Again, tap it down and start your circle out. Okay. From here, pepperoni, your filling should really go, your meats and your veg should really go down first before your cheese. We're going to put some pep down. Boom, boom. Pepperoni is really good. I mean, if I was being honest, I would just eat it. It's really good. Alright, some olives here. You use any topping, onion, peppers, whatever you really like. That beeping was just my oven telling me that, hey, it's done and preheated, ready to go. And then I have my cheeses. Mozzarella is really good, especially if you get nice thick slices. I also have some fine shredded mozzarella and a little bit of Parmigiana and Romano cheeses here. Hit it very lightly. We don't want to over cheese the pizza. I know people love cheese, but the cheese will melt and fill in all the gaps. I promise. All right. Now, drizzling some olive oil. And then I'm going to hit it with some pepper. Alright, into the oven at 550 degrees for about 7 minutes, or until the crust is nice and golden brown. Should do it. Alright, I'll come back when the pizzas are done. Alright, pizzas are in the oven. So I have 2 more balls that I went ahead and made up. Ready to go again. I'm going to teach you 2 more things. So the first thing I'm going to teach you is calzone. So basically for calzone, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to start in the middle. You're going to pat out your dough into a nice circle. And then you're going to stretch it like normal. Okay, lay it out. Calzones are just like pizzas. So we can put our sauce inside. We can also not put our sauce inside and just have a sauce for dipping, which is what I'm going to do. So first we'll put some cheese down, and I'm going to put it on half of the thing here. Put some pepperoni down. Some olives, some cheese on top of that, and then we're going to fold the pizza over. Alright, and then from here we're just going to do some light twisting and pulling. Basically sealing this. Okay. And then we're going to slice a couple vent holes in this. Okay. Onto a baking sheet, into the oven for 7 to 10 minutes until golden brown and cooked completely through. And that's your calzone. So we'll come back to that when that's ready. Next one will be the next ball that I'm going to show you is going to be for stromboli. Strombolis are basically rolled sandwiches. It uses pizza dough. But instead of a circle, we're going to kind of want to get this into a nice like rectangle square shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, but you definitely don't want to roll it out. Do not use a rolling pin for this. Please stretch using your fingers. Your dough should be pretty pliable if it's been sitting at room temperature and rising. as you can see, it's pretty easy. It's getting a nice rectangle going. Okay, so very light on the sauce. You're going to want to spread that. Okay, make sure you kind of don't get all the way to the edge, just a little bit, because we're going to need to seal. Okay, some pepperoni or any other fillings you're going to be using. Make sure you got a good even coverage, because you want to make sure that every bite has pepperoni in this. Some olives. Alright, and now we're going to roll this. So we're going to start here at the top, and we're just going to fold it over. Okay. Roll it. Alright. From here you're going to grab the bottom here, and you're going to come up. You're going to pull that dough. It'll stretch a little bit. Okay. We're going to take the ends and we're going to fold those inward. Okay. Roll this over so that the seam side is down. So, we made sure that we folded the ends up. The seam side's right here, where we pulled it up. And we're just going to roll this over until the seam side is down. And then we're going to take our knife and we're just going to score about 3 times for steam vents. Okay. Brush a little oil on here, a little bit of seasoning mix, pepper, and we're ready to bake it. About 7 to 10 minutes until golden brown and all the way cooked through. And we'll come back when that is done. Alright, and here we have it. We have our pizza. Nice golden brown and crispy. Ready to go. And then we have our calzone. Again, knife fork, that's how we eat that. And then our stromboli. You have a nice slice and a diagonal cut. You have nice little mini hot sandwiches. Alright. So I hope you guys use this and make your own creations.